it's Monday and I'm finally on my last week of training. I'm super nervous to finally be on my own, but I'm excited to still have this week left with my preceptors. So thank goodness I still have them, but the nerves are starting to kick in because I finally realized that I'm actually going to be by myself and I don't know how I'm going to do it because it scares the crap out of me. But yeah, so I'm going to go in. I worked the evening today, so 3 to 5, 3 to 11:30. So I just am getting out now. And tonight was a good night. I only had 3 patients because one of them got discharged, and it was overall pretty it was pretty good. My patients were very independent, and it gave me a lot of time to ask a lot of questions to my preceptors because I was actually just nervous about being alone. So I kind of voiced my concerns to her, and she really helped ease my nerves. So now I'm just getting home, and I have to walk because parking was so far. So, oh my goodness. But yeah, so now I'm home and I'm gonna shower and I'm going to bed. I'm watching The Bachelor and I can't decide if I truly think this season is worth watching. I love the drama, but what the heck? I feel like it's just too good to be real. But I can't believe that this is my last week and I'm gonna be done. So this past week I've just been kind of going over my binder and making sure that all my sign-offs are done and making sure that all my questions are answered. Last night I had a pretty easy assignment, so I kind of just, well, I've been asking just a lot of questions regardless of how stupid they are. I just want to make sure I'm prepared enough for being alone. It kind of sucks because I haven't seen any insulin drips or heparin drips, and I feel like overall, I think nursing school got me ready enough for work, but I feel like they really don't lie when they tell you, oh, you learn what you really need to know in training and at your job, because I honestly feel like things are clicking more, but I think that school gave me a good background on Hey, okay, so it's a little bit later and I was just watching the last clip that I was recording and I must have pressed something because it completely went off. So, what I was trying to explain was how school got me prepared for the real world in a sense, but I do feel like I'm learning a lot more just in my job than like in nursing school. Like you learn all your skills that you need kind of, and then you just, everything's so different once you get into your job because, you know, there's certain policies and procedures that your own hospital will follow. You have like a good grounding, I guess. So yeah, I think also too, it's just kind of like being able to apply the stuff you learned in nursing school to the real world. I think I'm doing like the best that I could in applying what I learned in nursing school to my job. So yeah. And also, I guess I do have a little bit of a story time, and it's kind of crazy. My preceptor got her schedule mixed up by accident, and she didn't show up for her shift, and which led me to me being alone, which was fun. Everyone was like, oh, you're supposed to be on your last week anyways, like you're gonna do fine. And I was kind of like already prepared, like, okay, I think I could do this. I think I can do this. And yeah, so our charge nurse and everything, she's like, oh, well, we'll be here if you need anything, like don't feel like you're alone. So I go on with my day. I get report from the nurse before, and then I go in to start doing my assessments. First patient I go to, I have to call a rapid. Yeah, it was super crazy. So basically I went in there and I got nothing in report saying that, you know, like, oh, she's having trouble with this and this and this. Like, of course, like breathing is an issue, but from what I got, it was under control. So I go in there, I start giving her pills. So she started to complain that she was having issues breathing. And I was like, okay. So I tell her to start taking deep breaths through her nose, out through her mouth. She's like, it's not helping. Being that we were on a COVID floor though, like I was kind of used to my patients saying that and kind of just like having to bump up the oxygen. So I go over to the oxygen and I bump it up a little bit, and she's still breathing pretty deep, and she's like, it's not helping. And I go to get a vitals machine, and she's not in isolation, she's not a COVID patient, but there's no vitals machine in her room, and usually there's a vitals machine in every room. So then I'm like, great. First I was kind of like, do I leave her? But she didn't seem in a state where she was gonna crash or anything like that, so I felt like I could leave her for a second because I was right next to the supply room. So I go and get a pulse ox, which is basically one of those things you put on your finger and it kind of gives you an idea of what your oxygen saturations are. I go and get it, and I come back, and I think she was like maybe at 86 or something. So yeah, it was pretty low. I crank up the oxygen. I think the highest you can go is 15, so I cranked it up, and I tell her keep, like, I raise the head of the bed completely, and she's saying it's not helping. So I get a face mask that would cover her nose and her mouth, and I get ready to put that on her, but I'm also calling on the patient's call light so that way the charge nurse could come in because I needed a second opinion. At that point, I didn't know what to do. So I don't have the face mask on quite yet, but the charge nurse comes in and she's like, okay, what's happening? I said she's having trouble breathing and I don't know what to do. And so she said the same things. She's like, it's not helping. Like at this point, that's all she's saying is it's not helping. So finally, my charge nurse was like, yeah, we're gonna call a rapid. So we called a rapid. She ended up having to get intubated at the bedside, which was really crazy. So all I did was give a report to the ICU before I took her up there, and it was pretty intense, and I'm happy that I got to experience it because I think that was one of my biggest fears. That was my crazy story, and it was pretty intense, but I think that's kind of like everything that I was talking about earlier. I honestly don't know. I don't know at what point my finger must have touched the recording button and it stopped recording. So hey, what's up guys? So today is finally my last day of training, and then I'm finally by myself. It's so crazy because I just felt like the time went by so fast, and I'm so happy that it's finally at an end, kind of, sort of. I'm also kind of wishing that it wasn't. But just in this last week, I feel like so much stuff has happened. I feel like between that rapid response that was called and my patient that had to get like security called on, I feel like I learned a lot in just like this last week that at least prepares me for like certain situations that I might come across. So yeah, tonight I work 3 to 11:30, and then I'm done for the next 6 days, and then I go back by myself. I don't know, I'm nervous, but I'm just waiting in my car because it's so cold. It's 10 degrees, but my phone says it feels like -9, so yeah, I'm excited, and I just hope that tonight goes well, and yeah, I guess we'll see how it goes.